In episode 11, we focused on laying out road networks across several key areas, setting up the groundwork for Ashland's next big wave of development. After building Hickory Bluffs, we ran a poll to see which area would be next. At the time of recording this video, Lithia Gardens won by just a tiny bit. So today, we're going to develop Lithia Gardens, but first, let's dive into its history. Originally, this area was the site of Ashland's first flour mill, constructed by some of Ashland's earliest settlers. Over time, as Ashland expanded, the old mill site deteriorated, becoming a neglected area. Recognizing its potential, the residents of Ashland, particularly the city's growing community of wealthy retirees, lobbied to transform the eyesore into a beautiful public space. The community envisioned Lithia Gardens as more than just another park. They saw it as a haven, designed specifically to cater to the city's aging population and wealthier residents. So today, we're going to do just that. We'll start by building out our garden area, then we'll zone our single-family homes, and finally, we'll ensure the area feels like a prime place to live by ensuring walkability. Alright, welcome back to Ashland, aka Ash County. So before we start developing anything, I want to go over a few things. This area will have next to no commercial or office, as this is more of a place for residents who have already retired, plus they'll be close enough to woodland where shopping won't be an issue. Secondly, I want to make sure that this area feels somewhat upscale. It doesn't have to be crazy, but just still something. I want it to feel a bit fancy, essentially the opposite of Mills Park. Mills Park was meant to be something that was thrown together by the city quickly, and really it didn't need to be perfect. For this one, I do want a bit of perfection. Now, first things first, we need to get rid of all of these trees. Right now, they're just kind of in my way, and it's funny because we just spent a bunch of money placing down these trees like 2 episodes ago. But right now, just need to get rid of them. We're going to be doing a lot of detailing and landscaping for this garden, so this should pale in comparison, hopefully at least. Okay, now with that done, I want to start thinking about my path network, and I want this to be a bit odd. I want this to feel a bit weird and out there. So to do that, I'm just going to start drawing paths and see what happens. Who knows? Who knows? I honestly don't know. It's either going to be awful or it's going to be perfect. And we have some waterline issue right there, so we'll need to fill that back in. But overall, this is kind of a steep area, so we might have to do leveling after. I'm going to try not to though, unless I have a problem. For an area like this though, we will just fill it in. I believe if it's a white line, it means it's the water line. So we're going to fill that in just to make sure there's no flooding issues happening in the future. Now for our path, I want to create somewhat of a centerpiece. So we'll just use our continuous curve tool, and then we'll just use a pedestrian path and really just get 290s on both sides, and that looks good. And then we don't even have to click again, we can just draw all the way around. And that's pretty good. You can definitely see there is a bit of terrain to contend with. I hope we don't have to move it to level this, but if we do, again, not a big deal. And then I just want to find the middle. It looks like I didn't make my circle an even size, which is probably something I should have considered. Yeah, and you can tell there's just slightly off on each side. So if you can measure by drawing another path to each side. And it's not off by too much, but it still is off. And for this use case right here, I want it to be as equal as I can get it. All right, let's try this one more time. This time I'm aiming for a whole number. And to explain on that, if you use the extended tooltip mod, you can swap your unit of measurement to units themselves. And what that means is if you get a whole number, you're pretty much set. And that works for zoning perfect grids as well. If you have something like 19.5, you probably don't have a perfect grid. But if you have any whole number, 20, 30, 40, whatever it may be, you have a perfect grid. And really, I'm just trying to get a whole number with this, but it doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, so we'll just have to turn off all of the snapping except for 90s. And then we should be able to just slowly move this until we get 11. I'm aiming for 11 because that should give us a perfect spot right in the middle, and we're almost there. Got it, perfect. And then we just draw this right around. All right, now let's do a one-time measure test just to see how it turned out. I'm gonna try and get the middle. Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's slightly off, but it's off by barely nothing, like 0.01. Yeah, we're perfectly fine here. Now I want to come into the middle just by about 1 or 2 units. I'm just gonna freeform this pretty much. So I'm kind of counting how many times it moves. So 1, 1, 2. Then we'll We'll turn our 90s back on, and then we'll just come right over. We'll do the same thing. And then I want to do the exact same thing again. And right now it kind of looks like a target. And it won't look like a target when we're done with it, but for now it does. And then I just want to find the middle roughly and just send lines right up. Okay, looking pretty solid. Looking pretty solid indeed. Now we're just going to send these paths pretty much all over the park. I haven't really decided on the layout yet, but I figured it'll just kind of come naturally. So really we'll just take each of these points and just send them somewhere. But before I do that, I should probably add in these connections as well. And you can kind of see there's a little bit of jank going on because of the contours. All right, now we're pretty much just grabbing each point and trying to connect it into somewhere. I think for this one, we'll send it up a bit. I figured this one might be a lone connection just because it'll be kind of like a lookout point. So you'll be able to look at the water. We're going to change the water up a bit too. I'm going to turn snapping off so I can connect into here. Now for this one, I want to follow along the road, hopefully like right beside it. I don't want to get too close to the road though. And I feel like I should be turning constant slope on for this, but I don't want to just grade everything because it might mess with the water. I really want this path to feel like there's two levels between the road, sidewalk, and then this path, right? You should feel like you're actually in the park and you can't just enter just by walking along this road. There will be entrances along this road, but not right here. Now I want to fix up this jank a bit, and I'm thinking we can do a couple things. One, we could either add a key wall to the path, but that'll probably mess with the road maybe just a bit too much. So we could add a retaining wall to the road instead. But I think then we'd have to add a key to the actual path as well, and I don't really want to do that. What we could do is just make the road a key, make this simple. And I think that'll look pretty good. And then we'll just do a bit of leveling here just to kind of get this to feel cohesive. So I'm going to use move it. I'm going to grab all of the nodes. I'm going to deselect the nodes on the road because I don't actually want those. And then I'm just going to align it to a specific node. Let's say this one right here. And I've clearly made a mistake because I did not grab onto all the nodes that we actually needed to grab onto. This time let's actually select them and then actually align it. There we go. That's much better, much better. Once we're in our like kind of landscaping and detailing section, we're going to come through. We're going to add a bunch of plants here and it's going to look good. Right now it's going to bug me. I'm going to try and level it. Let's see. Didn't really fix it. So I'm just going to move on. But overall, you know, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Now I want to continue the path around the water. So I'm just going to use the continuous curve tool and just kind of do that. I want to try and come up as well though. So I don't want to be too close to the water because I want you to be able to look down at the water. I feel like that would create the more optimal view rather than just being right beside it. And we'll curve right here, connect into this road. That way our paths aren't all perfectly connected because I feel like that kind of looks a bit odd. Now from this path, we will connect into the path we just drew. And that gives us more variability. Okay, now I need to connect these two. So I'm just going to break this node right here. Then I'll delete it. And then I'll just use the curve road tool, turn on snap guidelines, and perfect. Okay, now if we add a circle to this little lookout point, how would that look? And then we'll just delete this little middle path right here. Overall, it looks okay. I don't think it looks amazing. Honestly, right now, all of this just looks like aliens came and left, what do you call those? Those crop circle marks on this area. So really, it's kind of looking like just one big jumbled nonsense. But I'm hoping by the end of it, it'll come out clean, cohesive, it'll look really nice. And I'm kind of excited for it. Now I think we should have one more connection from this side of the river, just trying to go up. The slope is a bit rough, but we can get something decent if we just curve a lot. And you can see it's definitely doing some weird things. We're going to ignore those things forever. And then we'll just connect right in. Now I want to draw some paths around this area. So we have our main connection, our main, what do you call it, focal point, I guess you could say. And I want more connections though, because it's just not enough. I'm wondering, can we go up here? Not really. Could we connect here to make a balloon? Could we make a heart? There's a bigger question. That's very balloon-like. Almost looks like an octopus. Yeah, I don't like that. We're going to delete that. But I will keep one of the arms because I think it does work. Then over here, we're just going to start making connections in. I want these to kind of feel a bit weird, jumbled. They don't have to be perfect in the slightest. Now I want to pull up our university park because I want to see if I can borrow some assets from it. And I find placing these just makes it a bit easier than going and trying to find every single asset. Half the time I can't even remember which ones they are. We almost could have made that fit, but then I feel like it wouldn't have been as personalized because it would have just been some basic park thrown in here. And it doesn't really feel like a garden either. So I'm going to put this to the side for now, and if I need to borrow some assets from it in the future, I will. Now it's time to start thinking about what fountain we want to be in the middle. There's a few to choose from. I honestly wish there was more. These ones are too small. It might help if I actually search fountain. Now let's take a look. Yeah, there's only a few options that we could use that would be big. We could try placing this one and then placing another fountain on top to see how that looks. And that looks rough, so we're not going to do that. Actually, you know what I'd love to place? If I could afford it, I would love to place this. Where is it? It's somewhere around here. This fountain plaza. This is one of the most beautiful assets I have seen in this game, and it actually functions too. So the water does kind of shoot up. It is such a beautiful asset, and for 1.6 million, if I had it, I would consider placing it in. If you have this asset, try using it. Go into just like unlimited money mode, place it and take a look at it because it's worth it. Okay, now that aside, let's delete this one and let's just grab one of our big fountains. I think really any of them can do, so we'll just go with this one. We'll try and center that into the middle as close as possible. And we could have fountains on the side, but I don't know how much I like that idea. These wall fountains are pretty nice too. Maybe we could even have a fountain right in there. But I feel like trees would look nicer in there, so I'm going to probably save that area. All right, I was trying to get some paths over the pedestrian paths, and it's a mess. I would have loved to get something on top of here, but honestly, it's so much work to do. It'd probably take at least 1 or 2 hours just to go over the path. So maybe sometime in the future, I want to revisit this and change the actual texture of the path. For right now, I'm going to delete these ones in the middle. And as you can see, it's not very level and it's making the fountain look a bit odd. So I'm thinking maybe we just use move it, try and grab a couple at first, level it to the fountain itself. And then from there, we can see if we need to do another adjustment. And although the fountain looks better, the rest of it kind of looks a bit weird. It definitely looks better for sure. We have a few bumps and I just don't like them. So let's just grab everything this time and we will just do it all. Okay, it's looking pretty good. This will essentially be our foundation for the park. It's open to change still as I move forward through this, but as of right now, I'm pretty much happy with this layout, and I think I can bring this vision to life. What I want to do is get started on some trees. I've been debating whether to use like a pink tree or maybe just a green tree, and I think pink trees are where it's at, especially for this garden. I think if we place 2 down right beside each other, and then do that for each little one of these areas, I think it can look really, really nice. I love it. I love it so much. It's perfect. It's perfect. And then around the area, what do we have around? I think the easiest way for me to frame this in my head is to just go grab one of the hedges, and we have the hedge low. And that one looks a bit more rough. And then we have the hedge 2. Then we have the hedge high. I think I'll go with the hedge low 2. It just fits better with what I'm going for. And we're just going to frame the area by going around all of these paths. And then that right there will help me be able to understand, where do I want to go with this? What do I want to do here? Thankfully, because I made this circle with the continuous tool, it should be pretty easy to follow this with the continuous tool. Really, I just have to align these points as close as I can and then just keep going around and around. Okay, and that's looking good. Now I'll do the exact same thing on these sides as well, and I'll encase this entire area with hedges. All right, now to see the finished product, and I think it looks really, really good. Sometimes when you're making stuff, you get that stressed out moment where it's like, is this gonna make sense at all? And it happens to me all the time. And then when I finally see it like this, I'm like, okay, I kind of see where this is going now, and I see how this can be like a real place, but I'm happy with it. I think we need to switch up the trees though, because I don't want to keep going with pink trees. I wish these trees didn't have a season and they were just purple or pink whenever I wanted them to be, but they do, so we're gonna work with what we got. I think we could actually use these kind of goldeny yellow trees around the area, and I think that actually frames it a bit better too. All right, that looks solid. Now I want to do a bit of bush work, and we have our vanilla bushes and we have the bushes that came with this pack, and I'll show you what I mean. So these right here are vanilla bushes. They don't look all that vibrant or bright, but these ones do, and I really like these ones. Now that's solid. I'm really glad I went with the red and purple color scheme. I almost went with red, purple, and orange, and then I was just like, no, that's gonna look bad. Now I want to start framing up this area just like I did with the other one to make it easy to understand what I'm gonna do. Now right here, the hedge is kind of sinking into the ground, but honestly, I'm just gonna ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. And I think right there is where we'll end the hedges for now. I do want to go back to this hedge over here. It's way too long, so I just want to add 2 path connections in. It doesn't really matter where they are. Actually, I'll add a third one in along here as well, just to break this up even further. Now starting with this one, we'll just click on the node. Then we'll just add another line on the other side as well. Using Better Bulldozer, we'll select net lanes, and then we'll just delete them. And we'll do the exact same thing on this side as well. Then finally, let's just add our hedges back in. And we also have to do that side as well, I almost forgot. All right, that's looking pretty good. To start filling in some of these areas, I either want to plop down some trees or some bushes, or have somewhere you can sit, or have somewhere, I don't know, it almost feels like more like an activity almost. But really, I just want these outside areas to be nice and basic and nothing crazy. Looking back at this one, I think it's also too long. I do want to break them up if I can, and we have a path connection right here anyways, or at least a sidewalk connection, so might as well just add it in. All right, now let's tackle this smaller plot right here. I'm thinking we could probably use the radius tool and just create kind of a, I don't know, a radial design. We'll try out these yellow bushes. I'm still not sold on them yet, so we'll see how it looks, but we can get some yellow, some orange, have some different colors in this garden. And I have no idea what I was thinking with this. It feels like it's a target. All we're really missing is the red center and it would just be a target. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to try again. There we go. That looks a million times better. A million times better. And to balance it out, let's do something simple over here. Nice, I like that. I wonder if we're having too much green space, but this is a garden, so green space is a given. It's just I want to balance out both sides, so I don't want every single side to be filled with bushes. It just becomes overwhelming. I was looking for a spot to put a gazebo, and I think this spot would actually do really well. We can keep it nice and simple, so we can just put 2 gazebos down. We can put some bushes around them. Then finally, let's just add a nice little manicured grass surface over it. I think that'll complete this little area. And it looks a little bit empty and bare, but I kind of like it like that. If we add a tree, it almost overwhelms the area. And if we add these big bushes, then it's just too much color in one place. And I do like these small bushes, but honestly, I'm not sure if I liked it before or after the bushes. So it's one of those things that I'm just gonna forget and move on about. Now I want to turn this into a little plaza, and so I think we can use some of our natural stone surfaces and then just use the bucket tool, swap to road network, I think, yep, and then just put it in. And that feels very natural to what we already have. I'm just going to drag this out. I've been trying to find some assets that would fit really well into this area. I think we can probably put some flower beds down. One of the problems that I have making plazas is they always end up to be a bit too symmetrical, and I don't want to do that with this one. So if there's any way that I can just change things up or make it seem like, I don't know, it's not one perfect mirror of each other, I'm going to try and do. And it's okay. I'm not in love with the area by any stretch of imagination, but you know, we're so limited on assets that we have available to us, and maybe that's just a lack of my imagination, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it either. We'll move on to the next plot. For this area, I was thinking we could do something kind of like a hedge maze, but not a hedge maze. I want to see just how high the difference is. Yeah, and it's a significant difference. So I'm going to start by going around this area. Okay, now using the parallel road tool, except for parallel hedge tool, I'm going to just kind of snap into here and just try and send this along somewhat of a natural and flowy way. I'm trying to get something that's representative of a hedge maze, but not actually a maze. This is more just somewhere you go, you'd walk through, and I think I have an idea for what we could actually put inside here, but we'll see once we get there. Okay, so far so good. Now I just want to start deleting some of these segments. Okay, so this one wants to delete the full thing, so we're just going to try and add back a node right there, or maybe even try and connect it back in. With NetLane, sometimes if things are too close, it just doesn't work, and there is no node to actually snap onto. Yeah, so we'll just have to delete this, which I really didn't want to do because I liked that it was parallel. I liked that everything was really neat and clean, and now we're just kind of gambling, hoping to get something close to it. Okay, and that took way too long, but I'm finally done. Now I just want to add a few details in here. If you're going to walk through here, you might as well walk through here for a reason. And I think we can use one of these park props to do so. So we're definitely not putting a table. We're definitely not putting a fountain. And we're definitely adding this park info sign. I love it. I think we'll actually add a few more in other places as well. Really, I see this sign going over like the history of the community, the history of Ashland as a whole, history of this garden. Now I want to add the surface, but I have two ideas for the surface. One, we could use the manicured grass surface, or we use the checkered grass surface and then we apply a transparency layer, like a slightly black transparent color over it, just to make it seem not so bright and golf coursey. This is our first option, and for the most part I like it. For our second option, we have this checkered grass surface with a black transparency surface on top of it. And I also like this one as well. So I'll leave it up to the comments. If you guys want to tell me which one you'd rather see here, I'm happy to change it. For our plaza, I think I'll probably just add in a few more benches just because it doesn't feel alive right now. I don't know, this area feels like it needs something to define it. And it kind of has the fountain, and that's okay, but it's missing something else. think it's time to add in our monument, and we'll probably just go with this arch from the China pack. I think we're going to place it right here. Then we'll place some hedges around it. And then we'll just add a surface in here as well. And I really like the stone one right here, so I'm going to keep that. And I think that's all I'm going to do for this area. Now, I am no expert in gardening by literally any way. I don't garden whatsoever. So I'm trying my best here. And one thing that I always see in gardens is lots of green space. So I think we need some as well. But we're going to do it slightly different. I'm going to just add these small baby oaks along the side of these paths. Then I'll add another path in the middle. And that'll kind of be our open green space for this area right here. All right, now I've been looking at this plot right here, and I just keep thinking that we need to breathe some life into this by having a bunch of more colors. So I'm just gonna randomize a bunch of our bushes. I'm gonna throw them in here. I'm gonna see how it looks. Okay, I love the bushes. I love the color. I hate that solo tree. It doesn't feel right. Yeah, that's much better. Much, much, much better. Okay, and with all of those little areas done, I think it's time to start thinking about the water. So I want to push the water all the way back. So I'm going to level the terrain pretty much as far as I can without disturbing anything else. All right, now I've committed some atrocities by leveling it like this, so I'm going to try and fix them if I can. Oh, or we could even make it worse. Yeah, that's great. That's a funny looking pathway there. For about 30 seconds, I thought maybe we can make it work. And then I was just like, no, we're not making that work. Honestly, the circle's making less and less sense. I could put a key wall around here, but that's kind of against the vision that I had. I need to be careful here because I might lose sight of the plot again. Yeah, that's not the vision for this area, and that's way too expensive for what this area would really be building, a garden. I've done so many things to this terrain trying to make it work. I feel like it looks better, but right now I just need to add the riverbed surface because I think that'll actually help a lot. Yeah, I think that helped a lot. Before it kind of felt like it was sandy. Now it kind of feels like there's actually some dirt at the bottom of this. Maybe it was dug out or whatever, but still it feels much better and I'm a lot more happier with this than I was before. All right, let's get some boulders in here. And before we do that, I think we should fix this path. It just looks really bad. And it wasn't really meant to be a circle. That almost feels like kind of like more of like a marina. This is meant to feel more like you're just coming up to look at the water and I don't know, have a nice fresh breath of air. So I'm going to level this completely. I'm going to try not to touch the sides too much because I spent so long fixing it and it doesn't even look that good right now, which is kind of funny. And of course, I messed something up a bit. And then I'm just going to run this path all the way down. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to do anything too complex here. Sometimes in order to win, you got to lose it. And sometimes in order to make things pretty, you just got to keep it simple. All right, now we're ready to add our boulders in. And honestly, I think this is going to complete the look of the water. Because right now, it just feels too empty. But when we add these boulders, plus a few bushes, I think that's going to look perfect. I just love the feeling those bushes give. Like the different colors and everything around it, plus the boulders and the water and the trees on the side. It feels really nice. I like it a lot. I just want to kind of vary things up here by adding some pink trees every now and then. But overall, I like this. I think this is solid. Clearly we're missing a surface right here, so let's add that in. And I don't like the way these trees are either. I feel like we can definitely mix it up. Let's throw some pink trees in here instead. I also want this side to feel very bushy. So I'm going to go through and also add the same bushes we've been adding just to the other side now, because I think the bushy feeling really completes the garden look. And then for this area right here, just a few trees. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And with that grass surface in, it completes the look. I love it. We just have one more thing to add right here. Just a few trees. I'm going to vary it up between these pink ones as well. And let's also have one green one right here. And that's it. We are done. Our garden is done. I am extremely happy with how it turned out. I was so worried it was going to be garbage. All right, finally, let's add in our single family residential. And let's add a little bit more zonable area right here, because this is a pretty big block length and it doesn't need to be this big, especially in this area where walkability would be king. Let's just go and grab our suburban 2-lane road and just add it in. Now for zoning itself, I'm just going to plop all of these because these roads are really wavy. Really, I'm just going to be using the southwestern pack because it just makes the most sense, and I'm going to be trying to maximize the lot depth where it makes sense. So for example, on this road right here, it makes sense to have a bigger lot depth. We could probably even go 5. Then right here, I feel like we need a path because it's just, it's too long. It's not even the longest block length. I think there's one slightly longer, but still just adding this path just improves that walkability. And I mean, why not? Why not give it to the people who live here? Yeah, same thing right here. There's so much space and we just don't have a path. We might as well just add one in. Actually, I think I'm just going to go through and check to see if there's any areas where a path could be added in. Somewhere that's not too steep, but maybe could fit in the backyard as well. This is kind of one of the downsides of having curvy roads. If you want it to look nice, you have to plop. And sometimes plopping takes forever. Either way, I'm ready to get in our dog activity park. I want to go with the new big one because I like it a lot. I think it's going to fit this area really well. Okay. And it's looking like the terrain did a few things for some weird reason. I'm not sure why. Did that fix it? No, it didn't. It's like sunken into the ground. I've never seen an asset do this before. So we'll just align it to the road. Easy, quick fix. And now delete these trees and also this fence. We have a really big plot here, so why wouldn't we use it? I know the game can't really accommodate for that, but we can. So I'll just draw a new fence around the perimeter. There we go, looking good. Now I want a grass that feels a bit different for this park, just because it makes sense. And we wouldn't use the manicured grass surface because that one's, I mean, a dog park having manicured grass just sounds kind of silly. But we do have one that I'll just add in, and I think it's going to work really well. All right, after fighting with the surface for what feels like forever, I'm finally done. And honestly, I like it much better than the vanilla surfaces. It just adds that bit of variety and makes it feel like this place is different. Dogs do run around here, dogs dig up the ground, you know, whatever it may be. All right, last but not least, let's add in some trees. Okay, and we are done. I'm really happy with how this came out. I can't stop looking at it. It's one of those things where you do something and you just feel so proud of it. Anyways, let's do our before and after. All right, so that's a wrap. I had a lot of fun building out Lithia Gardens, and I hoped you enjoyed too. If you did, it would mean a lot if you could like the video and subscribe. Either way, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next one.